And welcome back. Today, as I promised in my last video, I'm going to start giving you specific methods on how you can manifest your best life. Now, these are extremely practical. Get your notebooks, get your pens, get ready, because we're going to start with 6 of the most powerful methods you can use to manifest your best life. Ready? Let's get started. So in my last video, which I'll leave a link for, I discussed the subject of living in the end, how to begin with the end result in mind and manifest your goals. And I promised you I would be giving you a lot of specific methods. So let's start to take a look at those. We know that when we think of a method, we're thinking of a particular form of procedure or process for accomplishing something. It's a systematic way to achieve a goal. So it could also be referred to as a technique, a tactic, a strategy. And many of my clients ask me, they say, Robert, this is all wonderful, but I want some specific ways. I want you to give me some detailed information that I can put into practice today to begin to make my goals real in my life. So in harmony with that, keep in mind as we go along that the purpose of the methods are to help you get a sense of already having it, a sense of, as it says here, an isness. Whatever you desire, believe you have received it, and you will. And so that's our focus today, and let's start with the first one. Number 1, a state akin to sleep. So that's the terminology that Neville Goddard uses for the alpha brainwave state meditation. Now, you've seen this online and referred to before, that our brain has several stages of alertness. And the alpha state is when we're just about ready to sleep. We're in a very comfortable, drowsy state just before a nap or sleep. As Neville Goddard explains here, to yield successfully to the wish as an accomplished fact, you must create a passive state, a kind of revere or meditative reflection, similar to the feeling which precedes sleep. In such a relaxed state, the mind is turned from the objective world and easily senses the reality of the subjective state. It is a state in which you are conscious and quite able to move or open your eyes, but you have no desire to do so. So you're absolutely relaxed. You're simply breathing. Your heartbeat and breath is slowing down and deepening. And it's in this passive state that your mind can receive your imagined goal as already yours. So let's take a practical look at it further. So, Robert, do I need to be laying down in bed? Another question would be, does it have to be at nighttime before sleeping? Or does it have to be in the early morning? No, that's up to you. You can actually do it midday. You can do it sitting up in a chair. You can do it on a lounge chair, a couch. You could do it in a park. You could do it on a break at work, actually, if you had that type of privacy. You can do it anywhere, anytime. However, it is best done in a place of solitude where you have peace and quiet and can fully relax and let go, even feeling as though you may drop into a brief nap, if not sleeping. So you definitely want to be comfortable. And again, the idea is that you want to get into this passive state. Now, how did I do this in a practical way? First of all, I wrote down my goal in detail of living the island life, the type of activities in life that I would be having in that life. Then I wrote down all of this. I shortened it and I put it in the present tense, and I developed a mental scene or an imaginary act that would be occurring had I already received my wish. In my case, what I wrote down was that I am so blessed now to be living my island life. And I was sitting there on the beach with my feet in the sand, the sun on my shoulders, the tropical moist air with a light breeze through the palm trees. I could see the coconut trees behind me with the mountains, and at my feet the ocean with the waves gently rolling up by my feet. Beautiful sands. Perhaps a couple of people are, walking down the beach on either direction. And just a peaceful, beautiful sound of the ocean washing up, and me enjoying my life sitting there in the islands. So I visualized that, and I wrote it down as such. Now, a second step that I did is I actually recorded it. I recorded it with sound effects from YouTube. I looked up beach sounds and meditations of the ocean washing up onto the beach, and the waves crashing on the beach, and the sound of the breeze, a couple of seagulls passing by, the sounds that you would hear in a quiet, restful beach scene. So I had that background music, and then I recorded my gratitude meditation of being on the beach, enjoying that life. And it was only about 5 minutes, but then I recorded it on a phone application that had the looping app on it. So you could actually loop it, and it would play, and it would start over, and it would play again, and it would play again. I would fall asleep listening to that. And then in the morning, I would rewrite by hand my goal. I would write it out as done early in the morning. So this re-embedded it into my mind and heart as having that goal and having that life already. Keep in mind, this was in the beginning of COVID. I was laid off, and everyone was told to lock down and mask up and go nowhere and do nothing. And yet I imagined that I was traveling, I was living that life, and I was already there. Over the next few months, everything unfolded. I ended up moving to Playa del Carmen, where I did over 100 scuba dives. And then 9 months later, I was able to, through a series of bridges and challenges, just worked out for me, able to get my visa to Bali, Indonesia, which was one of the only countries that just opened up a little bit to let people in. And I was able to move to Bali and live there for 2 years, and now the Philippines. But I did that first while sitting in the desert during COVID, under lockdown, simply using my imagination and my creativity to sound these things into my mind and heart using this alpha meditation or state akin to sleep. Revision. Revision is revising the past into the future. It's taking a past event, imagining that it didn't happen that way. And this, in fact, then rearranges and changes what happens in your present and future. So, for example, I can give you a specific one, and it doesn't have to be something from the distant past. A friend of mine, while I was living in Bali, Indonesia, we were taking a ride on a motorcycle, and it was really my fault. I drove a little too close to the edge of the tall sidewalk, if you can imagine, and her ankle bumped into the side of the cement, causing her tremendous pain, and we pulled over, and sure enough, wow, I felt absolutely terrible. We banged her. I banged her foot, my fault, on the side of her foot and ankle, and she was in pretty much pain. So we changed our plans for the day, and I took her back where she could lay down, relax, and we were deciding whether to take her to the clinic, a doctor, or what to do next. And I suggested that she ice it, but she said, no, I know what to do. She also was practicing the Lawofassumption and the ability to imagine things differently and have a different outcome. So what she did is she laid back on a pillow, and we put her foot up on a pillow. And again, she turned me down as far as icing it. She was starting to swell up. Her ankle and foot were swelling up pretty big. She had a pretty noticeable cut on her foot, even a little bit of a bleeding, a mark of bleeding. And she said, well, let's just relax first. So she laid back and she took what appeared to be a short nap. As it turned out, what she was doing was imagining that her foot was as good as it ever was from her mother, from her childhood. You got that picture? She was imagining her foot was fine. Her foot was not injured. Her foot was fine. It was healthy and strong as ever, even as if going back to her childhood from her mother, as her foot had always been in good, wonderful, healthy condition. Upon waking, she startled me and herself because she got off of where she was laying down. She stood up and she started bouncing on her feet and said, wow, the pain is gone. And then she started dancing. And I'm like, what the? And, I got a closer look, and we looked at her foot. We examined it carefully. The swelling was gone. The mark on her foot was gone. There was no evidence that she'd ever had an accident. And this absolutely blew my mind, even though I've been practicing the laws of the universe for decades now. But to see this in person with somebody actually healing themselves by using their imagination and revising that the accident never happened and her foot was absolutely perfect as if from her childhood, just was phenomenal. And that's something I witnessed firsthand, and that's revising the past into the future to make your present and future unfold differently. And so she no longer had that accident. Mark was gone. She was fine. Really, I could say it was a miracle, but it was done with the power of her imagination and revision. So friends, if you're finding value in this, please, of course, you've subscribed, but I would love it if you would leave a comment and, of course, like. Let's move into number 3. Remember when. Now, method number 3, remember when, is based on the Neville Goddard lecture, Believe It In. Now, remember when, as a way to manifest, is really an interesting, and in some ways, I find an easier way to use your imagination to manifest something. Because the idea with remember when is you're reflecting upon a time when you did not have something or you did not see something. For example, in Neville's lecture, he talks about a gentleman who, with his children at his side, looked out at an empty lot, right? A valuable piece of real estate, yet it was empty. There was nothing on it. And he said to them, I remember when this was an empty lot. But wait, it was an empty lot. In his imagination, then, he imagined that there was a beautiful home or building already on that property. And later, there actually was. And so he was reflecting on it as if it had already happened. It was already his. There was already the beautiful building, lovely structure on that piece of property. But he was saying to his family there, I remember when this was an empty lot. Now, we can use that in our lives in a lot of practical ways. For example, myself, over the past few weeks, I've been very distracted with my marvelous island life, snorkeling and traveling, and still working, doing my YouTube, and also, of course, my Facebook, working with my Facebook posts and coaching, personal coaching. And I've noticed that I've got a little bit off track. And so I wanted to really hone in and focus on my upcoming classes that I'm going to be conducting, Zoom classes, actually coming up soon. And I wanted to imagine those vastly successful with a great attendance. And I also wanted to imagine having additional clients added to my list, people that I would meet soon that would be enjoying my coaching and manifesting their goals. So I kind of had all this visioned. Then I put it behind me as if in the mirror. And I wrote out, I remember when I was looking forward to that Zoom class. I remember when I was looking forward to more clients. I remember when such and such. So I wrote it out as if it was something that was not presently mine, but I was reflecting on it and remembering it as if I didn't have it right now, which implied, very simply, this implies that you do have it because you're reflecting on it, even though it's not there at the moment. My class has not taken place. In fact, it's yet in the next few weeks from the time of this video. And the other things in connection with my YouTube is developing and my subscriptions are growing and I'm getting more views. But I'm imagining looking back at it as tens of thousands of views and subscribers and people learning and growing from the information about how to use your marvelous imagination. So I'm reflecting on it as if it's reality, which is now, which it's not. I can remember when this was not yet. Now, that in itself implies that you're remembering when. You're reflecting on it as that being in the past. The time when it wasn't, and actually visualizing as having all of those things accomplished as now. So it actually makes it easier because sometimes it's tough to project into the future, but if you could look at it as already done in the rearview mirror, it's already yours. You can relax because you already have it. I remember when I didn't have it, which implies that indeed I do. It's actually really an amazing way to manifest. Now, let me know in the comments if you fully understood that. Again, you want to look up that lecture, believe it in, but I would be happy to clarify things for you. You can PM me, you can leave it in the comments, and I would be happy to help you out further with that. But it's an amazing way to manifest. So let's take a quick break here before we continue with the next one, which is amazing, the Waterfall Method. If you don't apply these, if you don't test them out, if you don't go for it and test them and give me some feedback on your success, that means nothing. This is just an exercise in futility. These methods are meant to be utilized. I'm going to give a list of all 6 of these that I'm covering today in my description with the source material for you to look up and research further, along with links to my other videos related on my YouTube channel. So let's continue. Now, the Waterfall Method is really a meditation, and this is actually going just to strengthening your imagination and your manifesting ability by helping you to center yourself and draw closer to source. Yeah, this is actually a very deep one, and I encourage you to read and study that lecture, which is mentioned right here on the screen, The Coin of Heaven. The Coin of Heaven by Neville Goddard. And it's really deep, really, as you really have to get into your imagination and imagine you've become part of this waterfall and it's radiating and centered in you. What this is really designed to do is to really cause an awakening within ourselves and in others, because just as a waterfall goes into the earth and is connected to all that grows with it, we are connected to all those around us. But in the center of that, in the center of the power of that waterfall, is our connection to source, our connection to God, our connection to the universe, a connection to the Creator, however you view it. Okay? You're connecting with that center of power through your imagination by doing this meditation. I highly recommend it. I really need to do a completely separate full video on that meditation alone. If you read through this paragraph in the middle, it'll give you the spirit of it. Notice, Neville states, imagine yourself at the very base of a very wonderful waterfall. And that water is flowing beautifully on you. And imagine it's flowing through you and now from you, flowing towards someone you're thinking of. Just imagine yourself the center through which water radiates, and everyone in this world is rooted in me and ends in me as I am rooted in and end in God. Yes, truly deep. And I encourage you to please take the time to study that separately and practice it. And I'd love to hear your comments on it. Okay, so we've got 2 more powerful methods we're sharing here today. I reduced it from 12 to 6, and still there is so much. So this method is called the eavesdropping method. As you can see pictured there, someone listening in or eavesdropping. As we know, eavesdropping is listening in on a conversation that you were not really privy to. So you're really kind of listening into something, and you hear your name mentioned, and you know they're talking about you. So this is something you do in your imagination, because you're imagining success, and your friends or coworkers know about your success, and they're talking about you. As Neville states, imagine hearing 2 friends in your imagination talking about you. You're listening in or eavesdropping. They're talking about your life now, how amazing that you've reached your goal. They're enthusiastically happy for you, and you are near enough to overhear their every word. You feel proud and happy. Now, interestingly, in one of his lectures, Neville actually talks about this in speaking how some might even be giving words of jealousy. I can't believe she got she got that raise. I can't believe she was promoted. That guy in the office, he seems to have all the luck. The boss just promoted him again. So in order for them to be saying that, it would mean that you did get promoted in that situation. So again, all of these methods are to help you have a feeling that it's already yours, a feeling of isness that it's already done. The only way you would hear that conversation is if it were true. In this case, that you had already received that promotion. Now, you can use this in a number of different situations. I'm just giving you the example of an office situation where perhaps you've gotten a raise or a promotion, or something wonderful has happened in your life, and they're talking about you. Did you see that guy, that lady that he's dating now? Man, what a catch, right? So again, you're eavesdropping in on them, and the implication is that you have that which they are talking about. Again, to see the information on this, please see in my description under the video, and I will be able to share with you exactly where you can get more information on how to use eavesdropping as a very powerful way to manifest. Thank all of you for staying for number 6, because this one actually can be very effective. The telephone. Method number 6, the telephone method. Okay, let's get into it. Let's follow along here. When a friend calls telling of a problem, we hang up, and you're moved from the problem state to its solution by hearing the same lady tell me the problem was solved. So that's actually a quote from one of the lectures that I will be sharing with you, that this is from in the description, so you can learn more. But again, notice what happened here in this example. A friend is on the phone with her and tells her of the problem she has. As soon as they hang up, You, as her good friend, imagine her problem solved as a solution already being there for her. Now, in that scenario, and the second one I'm going to give you now, quoted here, in both cases, this is where someone you were talking to on the phone gave you a negative situation and you helped solve it for them through your mind and through your imagination. Notice the second one. One day a friend called to tell me she wanted to become a court reporter, giving me 9 reasons why she could never pass the test. I changed every one of them as I heard it. And when the conversation was finished, I imagined a completely different one. I heard her telling me she completely passed the test with flying colors. So notice in both cases, the telephone method was used to help someone else. Interesting, isn't it? Neville Goddard also taught how to help others through the power of your own imagination. You can do this with family, friends, your children, someone at work, someone that you care about, that you would like to see a problem solved for them. You can utilize that telephone method. It is powerful. So I have 6 more coming soon. I'd love to hear. Please comment. Let me know what you thought of those methods. And more so, please test them out. Use them in your lives. You will see success if you apply them. Be sure and check my description for more information on each of those methods and how to find out more. And click above if you'd like to see more of my videos on manifesting your best life. Thank you so much.